Hello, my name is Carolyn Bruce, and today I'm reporting on the preliminary findings of a study funded by the Nuffield Foundation and conducted by a team of researchers to explore the feasibility of a numeracy app called SWAN. If, like this woman, you have struggled to exchange phone numbers with a poor connection, you will know how stressful it can be. Imagine doing this task if you're not sure how to write Arabic numerals. Imagine doing this task if you don't recognize number names. Many people with aphasia lack the basic numeracy skills required to function confidently and easily in society, and anecdotal evidence suggests that these difficulties are rarely targeted in a systematic and meaningful way in the person's rehabilitation. It has been estimated that a high proportion of people with aphasia experience substantial numeracy difficulties. Although there is some evidence that numerical skills are linked to aphasia severity, the relationship between language and calculation is not clear-cut. Some individuals with aphasia have been reported who clearly demonstrate that they do not rely on verbal forms to complete mathematical operations. However, there is an obvious verbal basis for some numerical skills such as counting, reading numbers, and writing numbers to dictation, which we will be discussing today. Dehaan's triple code model of numerical processing, shown here, proposes functionally independent mechanisms responsible for understanding and producing numbers. Different pathways exist for processing visual Arabic digits, written or spoken words, and analog magnitude representations. Depending on site of lesion, individuals have been found to have difficulties with different types of mathematical problems. Although we have a better understanding of number processing, there are few aphasia therapies targeting numeracy difficulties. A single case study conducted by Ablinger and colleagues in 2006 obtained positive results with multiple repetitions of number names. Although promising, providing the necessary mass practice is challenging for most clinicians, as is maintaining the person's motivation with the task. Our solution to this problem was to create SWAN, a digital app that could be used independently at home and was uniquely designed to encourage users to learn and strengthen their counting and sequencing skills while playing a game. The app, which was developed through collaboration with SoftV, a gaming software company, is based on the stages of number acquisition identified in children, which mirrors the counting up behaviour observed in some adults with aphasia. It requires the user to identify the longest number sequence possible within an array of numbers. As they click each number in the sequence, the number name is said aloud. Numbers increase in size as the person progresses through the game, with the rules governing the sequences becoming increasingly demanding. Bonus games provide extra opportunities to link numbers with their names and master number sequences. Here is a short demonstration of level 4 of the main game. There are 140 levels in the game.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
This study was conducted as one step in an ongoing evaluation of SWAN. It was designed to observe the effects of SWAN on the numeracy skills of a small group of people with chronic aphasia. The aims of the study were to determine whether people with aphasia were able to operate and engage with a digital gaming app, and to establish whether this improved their processing of numbers and calculation, as well as their attitude to numbers. We've collected a lot of data, and today I'm just going to focus on counting skills. Purposive sampling was used to recruit 18 English-speaking adults with chronic aphasia who reported numeracy difficulties in daily life. Participants were eligible to take part if they had adequate or self-corrected vision and hearing. They also had to own a computer and have internet access at home. They were excluded from the study if they had severe cognitive impairment or a physical impairment that might restrict use of computers or controlling the game unaided. The mean age of the participants was 61 years and more than half of them identified as male. This figure illustrates the design of the study. Participants were assessed via a Zoom link at home with an assessment battery which included language, cognitive and numeracy tests. The assessment of numeracy skills consisted of a series of transcoding and calculation tasks and a new functional numeracy test assessing everyday number use. A picture analogy test was used as a control measure. All these tests, apart from the functional numeracy assessment, were completed twice, pre-intervention and then immediately after the intervention and 6 weeks later. Measures also included the Western Aphasia Battery, which was administered to determine type and severity of aphasia. In addition, 2 questionnaires were completed. The one concerning background information was administered pre-intervention, and the other in focusing on engagement with the SWAN app was completed post-intervention. Following completion of the baseline assessments, written instructions regarding how to use the app were given to the participants, along with a tutorial with the tester to demonstrate how to open the tablet and to play the game. Participants were loaned a tablet with the game installed if they did not own their own tablet. Participants were asked to play the game for a minimum of 15 minutes per day for 3 weeks. Frequency of training sessions and the participants' progression and scores on the game were automatically recorded, and the research team could monitor progress. However, although participants were asked to report any technical difficulties, they were largely left to progress through the game independently. Well, is an intervention with this app feasible? I'm going to say yes. No one dropped out of the study during the intervention period, and participants used the game more than expected, with some people reporting up to an hour a day. Most participants agreed that the usability of the app was good. This table shows that participants were comfortable using the app on their own and that it had been easy for them to learn to use it. Also, they were satisfied with the initial tutorial, training them to use the app, and enjoyed playing the game. Indeed, some were keen to continue using the game after the intervention period. Although 11 participants thought the game was just right, 7 of them thought the game was too easy, which may be due to the high level of abilities of some participants. Finally, a range of words were used to describe their perceptions of SWAN, with more participants selecting positive terms such as interesting and useful. Playing the game had a significant effect on forward and or backward counting for 5 participants. Following intervention, they were able to count sequences starting at different points in the number line, crossing decade boundaries, and involving triple digits. 2 of the participants maintained significant improvements in counting forwards and backwards 6 weeks post-intervention. A 3rd participant demonstrated significant improvements in both tasks, but only when assessed 6 weeks post-intervention. Finally, 2 participants were significantly better at counting forward, but these improvements were not maintained. Responses to the post-intervention questionnaire suggest some participants perceived small gains in number knowledge in settings other than the tests. For example, one man reported he was able to count from 11 to 20 more easily, and that this was noticed in his laughter yoga class. Although participants perform differently across tasks, they appear to fall into 3 groups. To illustrate this, the next few slides show graphs of performance for one of the individuals in each of these groups. Like this individual, 8 participants had near perfect transcoding performance across the range of tasks requiring both spoken and written verbal responses, and had only mild problems counting forwards and backwards. This group were also able to perform reasonably well on calculation tasks. This participant's counting forwards and backwards improved with gameplay, but only 6 weeks after therapy. At this point, he's at ceiling on forward counting. The data also shows there is potentially an interesting trend in improved calculations. 3 people, including this person, had good transcoding skills, but only moderate counting abilities. Post-therapy, this participant's counting forwards and backwards had significantly improved, and these gains were maintained 6 weeks later. This participant also showed some improvements in addition without carryover. As with this individual, 7 participants had marked difficulties across all transcoding tasks and had poor counting skills, with some people unable to count even a short sequence of numbers either forwards or backwards. Despite problems with counting, this participant was able to carry out simple additions and subtractions. Post-intervention, this participant clearly shows an improvement with counting, which increases in the maintenance phase. Pre-intervention, he produced no triple-digit sequences, saying 327 rather than 327. But post-intervention, he was able to do so. Writing Arabic numerals to dictation also improved, and there is a suggestion that some calculation abilities may have changed. Analysis of the questionnaire data revealed participants reporting greater confidence in their numeracy ability post-intervention. In conclusion, our study suggests that the SWAN app is a useful tool for promoting numeracy skills in people with aphasia and supporting their self-determined motivation for change. Participants' reports indicate a high degree of autonomy in players, even with those who face significant challenges in communication. Playing the game had a significant impact on the counting skills of some participants and made qualitative changes in the performance of others. It is hoped that easier and more accurate counting skills may help with other mathematical and daily activities, such as multiplication and telling the time. Even when participants did not show a marked improvement on the baseline tasks, several of them reported gains in confidence with numbers, and some reported a more positive can-do attitude. This will hopefully decrease their avoidance of everyday tasks that involve numbers and increase their efforts to use and improve their skills. Further analysis of the data is needed before deciding our next step.